everyone, I'm Eszter Kovács and I'm here at Amsterdam Drone Week 2024, and actually my first interview is with Mark Watson, who is a good friend of mine. I know him ages and he's super active related airspace digitalization, airspace modernization, drones and all of this. So welcome in the show, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, so we had a chat 2 years ago, if I remember
that's
well.
Right.
Yes,
that's right. It was a good chat.
And lots changed in 2 years. But if someone missed the show 2 years ago, can you just introduce yourself quickly and tell where you come from and what is NATS?
Sure, excellent. So my role in NATS is the UK air traffic service provider, and my role in that is head of UTM Service Integration, which basically means we work out what our role as an air navigation service provider is in helping enable drone flights, advanced air mobility flights and so on. So part of my role is helping to shape what that should be and helping to influence the organisation to change to support it and helping get people flying.
Fantastic. So, we had the interview 2 years ago, which I will actually put here, in the description.
That's right, yeah.
So if I talk about the United Kingdom generally, what changed, during these 2 years in the UK regarding those topics?
It's been really interesting to see how the UK industry and government more widely has mobilised towards enabling all forms of uncrewed flight, particularly under the Future of Flight programme, which is a research programme, sort of like European CESAR programme, enabling research and development, early implementations of services. And off the back of that, the UK government, led by the Department for Transport and the CAA, have worked together to deliver just this last March a Future of Flight action plan with statements of intent, very much in collaboration with the industry, of the roadmap for UK implementation of everything from beyond visual line of sight flights, with a target date of regular services in 2027, for example, and advanced air mobility flights starting from 2025.
So this roadmap is out there, so it's public. Everyone can download it
Absolutely.
From the CAA webpage, I guess.
It'll be on the UK government's website,
yes.
Department for Transport particularly. Yeah.
And how this roadmap looks like, just in a nutshell, I guess you know it, already. So what they forecast around for an upcoming few years, just in, really broadly. We don't need to go like line by line,
yes, course, yeah.
but...
Yeah, well, one of the other things that have changed over the last few years since we last spoke, the UK CAA last year, about January, February last year, published an update to their airspace modernisation strategy that included a new chapter, a revision if you like, to include everything uncrewed aviation, from drones to air taxis and so on. So that helped also provide a very strong strategic objective framework for us to work towards as industry in bringing that to life. So we've got this airspace modernisation strategy, we've got this Future of Flight action plan laying out the roadmap, as I say, from 2020, from now through to 25 for eVTOL flights, to regularising drone flights, BVLOS drone flights from 2027 onwards. So those are the sort of key defining documents in the UK and the key elements that are coming out of them.
And now that's the time to implement, if I understand well.
Yeah.
So the roadmap and the action plan should be implemented. So you forecasting 2025 eVTOL companies gonna start to operate in the UK, or what's your view on it?
That's right. NATS have been working with a UK company called Vertical Airspace on a variety of projects, particularly under the Future of Flight research program that I mentioned. And one of those projects is looking very much at how we could introduce eVTOLs flying in and out of London by a 2025 timescale. So that's very exciting for our part as an air navigation service provider, is understanding very much about what have we got today, rather than expecting to have ambitious developments of new procedures. How do we reuse and repurpose the procedures we have today? seeing what we could use with helicopters today, seeing how we extend that to meet the needs of eVTOLs. So that's the approach we've taken with Vertical, and very much collaboration with others, not just the two of us.
And the OpenAir program, you mentioned, you are also leading.
Well, this is another exciting avenue that NATS has put forward. Last September we announced this. We've, as part of our role in these projects and taking account of what we see in the airspace modernisation strategy and the future of flight action plan and so on, we've kind of looked and said, well, what can we do as an air navigation service provider to help stimulate the market, bring it to life as a regulated service provision at a UK-wide level. So we talk about integrated traffic management. Perhaps one of the key differences to USpace in its current form before European Drone Strategy 2 is in the UK we've gone straight for integrated airspace and all the difficulties that comes with that, rather than segregated airspace. So what we're proposing is a service called OpenAir for integrating airspace, and what we as an air navigation service provider can provide as services to the industry to help enable BVLOS drone operations to take place on a regular occurrence.
So is it a totally new approach, or you've seen somewhere like this in Europe,
Yeah, we've drawn heavily on not just Europe, but what's going on in the world. For example, looking at flight information management systems, FIMS, the work of Air Services Australia, NAV Canada, the FAA. Looking at the FIMS services, well, if we, because FIMS ultimately is digitisation, automation.
Deconfliction.
It's those digital services coming from an ANSP and using UTM technology. You bring those worlds together. So I say, what if we provided some of those services, similar to Air Services Australia? What if we provide some of those pre-flight services? And what if we provide some of those in-flight services like traffic management? How would that leverage our position as the UK's National Airspace Manager in helping stimulate the market, perhaps lowering the barriers to entry for industry, where they would otherwise have to invest in all the infrastructure and so on, and the regulatory needs of proving the assurance of that infrastructure. So how can we, as an ANSP, take that off their hands to make it easier for them to then deliver their value propositions to the market? That's kind of where we focused on.
And I was in Geneva, where I saw the announcement to sign a partnership with Altitude Angel, the UK UTM provider, correct? So you
That's
also
right.
Start to have partnership with the commercial products to enable those.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is completely separate to OpenAir. We've got two parts to our business: the normal regulated entity of being an air navigation service provider, and we have a commercial arm. Now, everything I've talked about with OpenAir as a regulated state-level service, the aspiration, our NATS ambition, is on our regulated part of the business, as you would expect. But equally, on a commercial part of our business, NATS Services Limited, at Amsterdam Drone Week, as you rightly say, we announced a partnership with our good friends at Altitude Angel. That is to collaborate and see how we can work together on commercial opportunities, but completely separate to the regulated services that we're talking about under OpenAir. So a very exciting time to have those two parts, those two activities in the different parts of the business.
But I find important, and I think 2024 and 2025 should be the year when we speak it out loud, at least at my show. It's like we don't do this for like a common good. We all need to have a salary, we all need to have revenue generation, the economy should move, right? So there is, to me, nothing wrong with connecting business models, those those activities, because I think, and you do that, every single person, I do that, right? I'm not doing this for a voluntary, activity. End of the day, revenue generation moves the world, it moves the money, it moves the economy, right? So I am a 2024, 2025, I am an outspoken person about that, because if we don't speak about this and do, we can shut down, everything. So I think it's very exciting now. Governments start to think about this, and all the players start to think about it, how we can make the businesses sustainable as well, And Altitude Angel always was, driven by that. So
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And the challenges that industry have had at the moment seem largely overcoming that regulatory hurdle, of safety assurance demonstration, and the level of risk they would have to take on in establishing a whole BVLOS environment in a local area with uncertainty how they get it approved. So if we can take some of that burden, whether it's the UK, whether it's Europe, whether it's other places in the world, the economic and social benefits of this advanced air mobility economy are just massive, and no one denies that. So there needs to be more infrastructure support in getting that infrastructure out of the ground to enable these use cases to start delivering the money, as you say, and overcoming the risk that the individual industry players can't take on commercially. Because the state's recognising the benefit, and particularly the societal benefit. So it's right that the state, having funded all that research and development, now steps forward on the industrialisation stage and funds that a little bit more to bring it to
commercialization. Exactly. Fantastic. It's a very great discussion with you. Thank you so much for being at my show, Mark.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be back here again. And it's lovely to be back with old friends.
Thank you so much. And I'm running this show now 4 years, and I always forget to say, but this is the first time and I don't forget, please follow us, please subscribe, and after 4 or 5 years I remember to say this, which my marketing team all the time says me, Mark. So please follow us, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.
And you've got great social media that I follow myself and learn so much from you.
Amazing,
Seriously.
Amazing. That's you see, we have a follower here. Thanks, Mark. Thank you.